Play.
Obviously, we also need to mention Rafael Nadal, who beat Darwin Blanche. Speaking of overreaction, there's definitely going to be a lot of overreactions after this one. Regardless of where you look. I mean, I was talking to my dad on the phone actually like 3 hours ago, maybe. And basically he started saying, oh, I was watching some tennis today and, Nadal looked pretty good. And I'm like, and I had to like sort of tell him, did you see him serving like Łukasz Kubot last year? Did you, I mean, what did he do exactly? I mean, do you think Darwin would have won the match against anyone in the draw? And
No.
my dad said, probably not, actually.
Yeah, I saw a lot of opinions about wildcards, mostly on Twitter after this
Yeah.
match. Why was he a player outside the top 1,000, 16 years of age, being given this opportunity? Like, should we even have wildcards in 1,000? Should they go to former players, number ones, major champions? Should they go to, because clearly, I mean, he is like the most touted prospect right now in the States, at least, given his results in the juniors last year. And of course, he does have potential. But yeah, I don't know. This one, there really wasn't much. There was just no competitiveness, zero, none whatsoever. It was as one-sided as the score looks. And it was...
Yeah, personally, I think that he probably would have gotten more, and that goes for like both Miami and Madrid. He would have gotten more out of Quali's wildcards.
Yeah,
and that's like if you're gonna give him these wildcards because you wanna like just grant him chances to get experience and like make him a better player in the future, I think he actually would have gotten more out of the qualifying.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something that the IMG tournament organizers have to think about. Obviously, other wildcards, some of them Fonseca, kind of like no-brainer. Zizou Bergs, I mean, IMG player for years, sure. He was very tired after Tallahassee and Sarasota, but like, sure. Who else was there? Shang gets a ton of wildcards, but again, IMG for years and clearly a super talented player. And I'm lacking someone. Landaluce. I mean, I saw people complaining about the Landaluce wildcard, for example. And that's sick to me. Like, on the one hand, you've got everyone saying that they should be going to the most talented players from the country of the event. And then you give a wildcard to the most talented young player from the country of the event, who's also IMG. So, like, he has the combo. And people are complaining about that. So, like, if Landaluce is kind of like the best of both worlds. I mean, he's a perfect example of a wildcard. And
he sort of proved it in Miami, right? With a very good showing.
He won a match. He won a match. He played decent against Ben Shelton as well. Yeah, right. So like Landaluce definitely is not to be complained about. I think that only Darwin Blanche is controversial.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I agree with you. Also, qualifying wildcard would have helped him out a lot more as far as development.
Ready? Play.
We should mention one of the heroes of the day, and not the guy on the screen. Although the guy on the screen is very important because he might beat Daniel Medvedev in the second round, and then he becomes uber important. And he did play very well today. But there's also Pedro Cachin breaking his 15-match losing streak.
Yeah.
Holy hell, that was a saga.
Oh my gosh, when was the last time he won a match? Like
October 2023. That was the Shenzhen Challenger. He made the semifinals there. I think he lost to Kova. So Kovacevic ruined him completely.
Wow. And so he gets to play Tiafoe again, right? Who he beat last year at this tournament. So
right. Altitude, very good for him. To be honest with you, he had to do nothing today. Like Offner was, I think, sick or something like that. Like he was really disinterested from start to finish. And I mean, Sebastian Offner can be like that sometimes. Hello guys, so it took a while, but it looks like we are finally back on court for Lehecka Medjedovic. I mean back on court, finally on the court. It was raining earlier today in Madrid, and basically they needed some time to prepare the courts. Unfortunately, from what I can see, my streaming platform has not yet reacted to the fact that the guys actually started the match, which I do hope will be in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, let me try to find something else. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a second round, obviously. Lehecka's first match of the clay season, even isn't it? I think it is. And for Medjedovic, he has been out for such a long time. I mean, this year before Madrid, he only played 4 matches. Didn't look fit in like either, like really only the first one, the Australian Open round one. All right, I found another stream for the time being. It's gonna be a little late in contrast to the scoreboard, but I will hopefully be able to get back to my usual option sometime soon. And I'm currently seeing the first point of the match on the screen, I think, judging by the lack of scoreboard, as Hamad, I believe, misses this forehand wide. And well, Medjedovic, he of course won the next gen finals. We were all expecting a massive season from him. Can it still happen? I mean, he would need to really like go huge at one or two events, right? Here, for example, I don't know, getting to the quarters or something like that. Would that break? Would that make him get into the top 100? Actually, I think it might be. It would be very close, anyway. And when it comes to Lehecka and Medjedovic, the next opponent for either of these players will be Stefanos Tsitsipas or Thiago Monteiro. And at the moment, Thiago Monteiro is up a set and a break. He's been absolutely destroying Stefanos Tsitsipas, playing with so much self-belief, which is something that Monteiro lacks a lot of the time. And yet somehow he's pulling this off for now. Yeah, I think a quarter here would be enough for Medjedovic to break the 100, actually. But anyway, of course, that's really not the topic for today yet. Lehecka is not easy, although definitely quite vulnerable as an early seed to get. I mean, just the returning quality isn't that high, the inconsistency of his game, the lack of maybe like, ways to win points without risking much. So I think the door is open for Medjedovic. I wonder how much he will have physically sort of for this event, because obviously if you missed almost 4 months and if you only played 4 matches in these 4 months, and he was actually sick, like he had a sickness that like for a month he was lying in bed or something like that. So that something like this can really take, a lot of energy out of you. And then you get to that event, you beat 2 players in the qualifying, Gaston and Comesania. Then you win against Kovacevic in 3 sets. Now potentially, let's see, but like potentially a pretty tricky match with Lehecka as well. And yeah, and in that case, I mean, we would be running into potentially some fitness issues. I think so. Like, I think that's possible, but hopefully not. And hopefully he's just going to be able to keep delivering, because fast clay conditions are obviously very good for Medjedovic. He won the challenger in Mauthausen last year. He was the semi-finalist in Gstaad at the ATP 250. So generally speaking, like anytime we can see him in these sort of conditions, he's very, very good. So I think it would be great if he can just keep playing like this, And against Kovacevic, he lost the first set, but he was kind of unplayable on serve throughout. Like there was just one break in that opener, but otherwise, yeah, it was just so hard to stop him, really. And yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, Thiago Monteiro or Stefanos Tsitsipas next for them. Monteiro up a set and a break and just hitting ridiculous shots time and time again. If he doesn't drop that self-belief, maybe there's going to be something out of that. And well, for now, let's see how Hamad Medjedovic and Nijil Lehecka will be doing. Hamad won the first game. A lot of unreturned serves, just early aggression. There was this one missed volley that he will be kind of ruining, but well, that doesn't really matter in the long run. Anyway, my usual streaming is already up as well. We've got Lehecka Medjedovic at 1 game all. No. My streaming is already good. I already have a game for Lehecka, so I basically missed the first service game of the Czech because of the difference in between the two streams. But anyway, clearly nothing important happened there. So let's see how they keep going. You can see by the court that it's gotten a lot of water. I don't know if it will really impact the playing conditions all that much. I also don't know if it actually influences this in any way. I mean, both players have ridiculous power that they can blast through any conditions with. Obviously, Madrid also has that altitude. I think Lehecka is definitely more like timing oriented. Medjedovic more, just strong overall. I mean, look at his physique. So it's a different way of getting power, but yeah, like neither of them will really care if the conditions get a little heavier, I think. Interesting idea here from Medjedovic as he was pushed wide by the Lehecka return and he tries to drop shot his way out of this mess. But actually, yeah, that was usually that's not going to work out, let's say. But that backhand drop shot down the line is definitely something that he's been adding to his game. And while its accuracy for now might remain a little all over the place, that's going to be a major weapon for him going forwards, I think, because, well, if you have that sort of power, you also need some ways to win the point if that power isn't enough. I remember watching his match against Menchik, for example, in Danderit last year, where basically he just kept going cross court at Menchik's forehand. Everything was coming back, and there was nothing that Hamad could do in order to just finish off the point. And that's also probably one of the matches that kind of told him that, well, he needs to invest in some other point winning engines as well. That match probably told him a lot, actually, because he, I think, saved. He had like 3 match points and he lost on the 9th for Menchik or something like that. So I think it was a battle that really for both players was quite significant. Of course, both are among the best talents of this generation, it seems. Hello, Jake. On other courts, as I said, Monteiro Tsitsipas, we will be keeping an eye on that as Medjedovic holds for 2-1, another game with brilliant serving. And we will be keeping an eye out on Monteiro Tsitsipas as well, since it's the next opponent for Lehecka Medjedovic. And also it's a great storyline building up right now. I mean, if Monteiro can take it home. We've also got Sebastian Corda 5-3 up soon on Max Purcell. Obviously, on clay, that's a match he kind of cannot afford to lose. But, well, we've already seen matches where Sebastian Corda cannot afford to lose and loses them. We've also got Iga Świątek on Manuel Santana playing against Sorana Kidstea. She won the first set 6-1, currently still on serve in the second, but it's just the third game. And Victoria Azarenka against Sara Sorribes Tormo. That's a good one, too. I think that's Stadium 3. Stadium 3 today is getting all the good matches. Basically, you've got that one, Ostapenko Karle, but then the men's setup. Oh my goodness. I mean, after 2 p.m. today, I'm only going to be watching Court 3 because it's literally Medvedev Arnaldi, Nori Fonseca, and Dimitrov Menchik. I think I swapped the order there, but it doesn't matter. Like these 3 big hitters in succession, that's ridiculous. Every single youngster just trying to pick up more and basically just trying to pick up one of the biggest wins of their careers. So can't wait for that. Iga Lehecka serving it 1-2 down as Tsitsipas held in the second set, but is still down a break. Which obviously, if Tsitsipas loses, it would open up the door for either of these two. I think both Lehecka and Medjedovic would have a very good shot at upsetting Tsitsipas anyway in these conditions, but well, they might just play Monteiro instead. Which, if it is Thiago Monteiro peaking like today, then well, maybe it's not even that easy. But well, we'll see. that self-belief that Monteiro is playing with today, it kind of tends to fade away. But we'll find out soon. Love 15 love for Lehecka here, but Medjedovic putting on some pressure. The young Czech recovering, though. Of course, we've seen him play some very good tennis during the Sunshine Double. There was the Indian Wells quarterfinal run where he beats Rublev and Tsitsipas. Peak phenomenal matches. Couldn't really come close to Sinner, but that was a real to me that was real progress, because that was more impressive in terms of his level than his Australian Open run, for example, when he made the quarters, of course, 1 year ago. And now we sort of come back to that question of consistency, of how often he can do this, and that's what we're going to have to find out with Lehecka, who was so hot and cold last year. For 2 months, basically looking like a potential top 10 breakthrough. Then also having that Winston-Salem final run, but in the long run, like really not doing all that much for the last 10 months of the season, or 9 months actually, because of course in December he wasn't active. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where we are with him, I think, right now. He gets the that serve was out. I thought he got the 2-0 game already, or the 1-2 game rather, to be specific. Attacks the net here. Medjedovic won't be able to produce the pass. 2 games all. And John in the chat is giving you the sort of the lineup for today. Yastremska Goff doing Nick is doing that, and also someone will do the Minor Nadal. The match of the day, which is actually one of the least interesting matches of the day to me, but obviously it's a big one. Sort of, in general, I do know that. And Medjedovic serving at 2 games all. I think he finds another ace. I mean, this must be like, what, 4th already or something like that? I mean, he's been acing Lehecka left and right. I definitely remember 2 down the tee. Now this one out wide, and probably there was something earlier too, maybe in the first game, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, it's 4 already. Also a pretty high percentage. This one he missed, but pretty high percentage. But yeah, I mean, in these conditions, I think Medjedovic can be practically unbreakable if he serves well. And yeah, we know that he has this ridiculous power to... I was thinking about that Tsitsipas matchup potentially in the third round, that that's actually a moment when you can pressure the Tsitsipas backhand, despite this being clay, because it's Madrid and because you're Hamad Medjedovic, and you can basically destroy balls with your racket. But, Thiago Monteiro can do that too, actually. And so far, he's been delivering. During the changeover, I'll probably switch over to that match for a second. But it is 3-1 Monteiro now in the second set, 6-4, 3-1. So, yeah, I mean, still peaking, still no breakpoints faced by Monteiro. And he's been getting almost all his first serves in, which obviously helps a lot. 40-15 for Medjedovic now. And that's not an ace. I thought that was an ace. Apparently that was a little out though. But Lehecka will not be able to control the second serve return either. He's been struggling with that too so far. Just a little bit of kick, still good power. And on the backhand side, he's been unable to control it for the time being. So let's check out how Monteiro is doing against Tsitsipas. Would this be like one of the best wins of Thiago's career? Kinda, right? I mean, he beat Tsonga in Rio in 2016. He beat Alcaraz this year, world number 1, but but we all know what happened there, right? We can't quite count it. I mean, nah, we just can't. Of course, if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, basically Carlos Alcaraz retired after just what was that? After like two games, something like that. He rolled his ankle on the second point of the match, I think, or third point of the match. So that's why that match is not exactly gonna be counted as Monteiro's biggest win, because well, it was over before it started. But yeah, it's still a top 10 win. It's still a win over the world number two. Sorry, I said number one earlier, of course, but number two. But yeah, otherwise, I don't know if he had any top 10 wins. I think other than beating Tsonga in Rio, which was kind of a famous one back in 2016. Always thought that he might do something amazing in the Golden Swing one year, like I don't know, win a title or something like that. Oh, and right, he beat Rune last year in Davis Cup as well. But that was during that patch where like Holger wasn't winning anything. And apparently he has yeah, these are all his top 10 wins. Songa 2016, Rune Davis Cup last year, and Carlos this year, retirement at one games all. Jesus, and he's hitting with so much power here. Just no hesitation whatsoever. The biggest question definitely will be if that hesitation shows up or not. But he's playing ridiculous stuff. All right, back to Lehecka Medjedovic. 2-3, Lehecka to serve, 15 all already. So far, definitely not much action on return from either player. There's this huge body serve from Lehecka that Medjedovic can't quite control. He was trying to step in. He was trying to be pretty close and aggressive on that one, but no. I think that's an ace from Lehecka now. So 3 games all, definitely very serve-dominated so far, but that's what we expect in these conditions from these two. And yeah, let's see who can sort of keep finding these easy games, who can win a potential lottery in the tiebreak, because that's kind of where we're going right now after just 19 minutes, 3 games all. The first big backhand in the rally from Medjedovic really bothering Lehecka, but it actually ends up falling right before the baseline, like with quite a lot of height as well. And Medjedovic misses it. Another return in from Lehecka, but what does it mean if the return is in, if Medjedovic is just gonna like clump the ball into the other corner? Got some sound in the background. Is that you, John? Yes.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I'm just plugging my microphone in, but before I do, Tsitsipas has just saved a break point with an unbelievable flat forehand down the line. It was just out of this world. But he's saving a break point as well, which is important to highlight because it could be a double break.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of forced me to watch it now.
I've turned this one on because I know that I'm going to be behind you. So you'll see a game point or a break point now, I guess.
Well, I'm already on the changeover, I think, but I will
there you go.
rewind
So
to
that's
that.
held, yeah.
I will rewind to that. Yeah.
But yeah, forehand on 30-40, you've got to see it.
For some reason, I'm not.
Be a match-saving forehand, we'll see.
Possibly. I mean, the Monteiro confidence is very, very, like, just vulnerable most of the time. If he was playing with that sort of self-belief all the time, we'd be talking about I don't know, maybe like a Golden Swing event winner or like a top 50 player at some point, but obviously we're not. And in fact, this season has been pretty really weak from him. So other than the Rio,
I did hear you touch on his top 10 win over Alcaraz this year, though.
Yeah, it would be the fourth, but actually kind of more like the third. I mean, otherworldly.
I don't know. Maybe I only saw it once, but I thought it was great. I mean, the net clearance was pretty low as well, right?
It was, yes.
It was risky.
You painted it as something more, though. You painted it as something more.
I mean, from a neutral position, I guess. I mean, it wasn't like he was on the run or desperate or... I mean, it was no Rafa Nadal, Daniel Medvedev.
Yeah, the middle of the court, really, right? I mean, obviously on breakpoint, it's pretty big to go for that.
But it was super neutral. I mean, most players don't do that. You just
we're
don't
talking
like
about one of the best forehands in the game.
Oh, I had a message from someone today, and they were asking for some Ostapenko video footage, ideally whole matches, but video footage from her playing in the Billie Jean King Cup of all places in Portugal. Yeah. And the only thing I could say is that I'm pretty sure Jose Morgado was commentating on it for Sport TV. But I mean, listen, I guess this individual is quite happy to probably part ways with a bit of money, but I don't know if you can just contact Sport TV or whoever and just say, hi, can we have the videotape? Anyway, I'll find out. There was a commentator from Sport TV who I'm connected with on Instagram who we met in Estoril, so I might write to her. Swiatek was up 1-0 last I saw.
Yeah. She's like 6-1, 3-1 up now, or 4-1 maybe even by now. I mean, it's not really much. It's kind of sad for players like Gistea because this is like the most typical, I think, Swiatek match in that you go out like you are a very aggressive player in general. You feel like, okay, like I like this court, I play well here. I've made the quarterfinals here twice. And then you just come out and you can do nothing because, well, you're just not used to the type of ball she's playing. You're not used to, staying on top of the point if someone is playing like that. It's also not entertaining to me, really, for the most part. No. Give her an Alexandrova, give her an Ostapenko, give her an Noskova, and then we're talking. Andreeva, I would like to see that much too.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Tsitsipas, by the way, was in a really good position for the first point of this game and somehow put a drop shot wide. I always think there's, drop shots that go too deep is pretty embarrassing. But if you put a drop shot from that position into the tram lines as he did, that's also unforgivable is too strong a word. But especially as he's now won the next point, so he could have been in a very commanding position.
For Gimsal, Lehecka, Medjedovic, 26 minutes or something like that. I mean, they are really speed running towards the tiebreak for now. I actually don't think Hamad has played a tiebreak yet this event, so it would be... Well, Lehecka definitely hasn't played a tiebreak, but he also hasn't played a set this event, so... Is this the best win potentially of Monteiro's career if he does it? How do we rank them?
I mean, especially if it's straight sets, 2 game points now.
Because Tsonga was cool in Rio because it was like an announcement, but it was still Tsonga in Rio, right? It was Tsonga playing the Golden Swing for whatever reason. Like, yeah, it was just
What year was that? What year was that?
2016. So that was a cool one because he announced himself. Then Davis Cup last year against Rune, like, nah, not really.
The problem is that wasn't finals, was it? It would have been earlier in the year, right?
Well, September, but it wasn't the group finals. I mean, it was World Group 1 or 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, he's not done it yet, but he is only now 1 game away, still 1 break ahead. I just had a feeling that Tsitsipas was going to threaten in that game, but in the end, he closed it out pretty well, that particular game.
And then we have the Alcaraz one.
I would have loved it if he'd have punched the air like in celebration at the end of that. I mean, he did the typical "my opponents were tired" sort of apologetic, hands in the air celebration, which is the classic one and the right one to do. I'm pleased I've got no commentary for this because I think I'm... Oh, Stefanos. You should not be putting that one out. Yeah, I'm pleased I've got no commentary because I think I'm okay with just sort of sharing a bit of ambience with our viewers. Too long. No, he's going to challenge, is he? Did you see the double bounce yesterday, by the way?
Shank, Davidovich, Fokina.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I saw it live. I saw it live, and I knew it was a double. I thought he was never going to get there. That was my first thought. I thought, oh, wow, he's going to try and get this. I thought he'd just give up on it. He did really well to get close to getting it. But when I saw it, I was like, let's take the double bounce.
I mean, on the actual feed, Davidovich Fokina kind of doesn't allow you to see where the ball bounced. Then on the replay, it becomes like 90% clear. But what makes it like 100% clear is simply what happens to the ball when it's on Shank's side of the net. I mean, the amount of like sudden extra topspin that it got, it's just impossible to get this without a double bounce.
I have to say, I was convinced. You're right. The net is a hindrance. Who's that in the background watching? I think I just saw Sabot Wild or João Fonseca. I think it was Sabot Wild watching this match.
Are you confusing Sabot Wild and João Fonseca?
I mean, it's from a distance. It's almost like you saying, I think I see Jose Morgado there in the background. I've seen Jose Morgado a few times, by the way. He's in a pretty good vantage point.
He knows where to sit, you know?
I don't know if Sabot Wild is doing the same, thinking, oh, I might get on TV here.
Probably not, probably. He doesn't like the publicity, you know? People tend to ask him uncomfortable questions when
I know. Talking of which, I had a nice chat with Yannick Schneider last week in Stuttgart. Tsitsipas does have a game point, though.
Finally, could talk to someone in German.
Although I spoke to him in English.
That's what I figured, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, Shank from Stefanos. I can't think of a player on either tour that is more synonymous with a Shank than Stefanos Tsitsipas.
I think Yuncheng Shang.
Oh, very good.
That's actually like you kind of gave me that, because the first moment you said like that, whatever was the sentence, I just heard Shang, really?
Oh,
And
okay.
and yeah, that's so you kind of gave me that, but yeah,
Oh,
I mean, definitely.
Stefanos, you sitting duck. And Montero passed him with ease.
It's obviously Stefanos, yeah.
Yeah, it's a horrible volley from him. I mean, probably the decision to come into the net was probably questionable, which put him in this position in the first place.
Big one here, 30 all at 4-5 with for Lehecka, of course, and Medjedovic is in the rally, back and down the line. He's still in it. It's like the longest rally of the match for sure by now. And we still don't know who's going to win it. Like, no one really taking any massive initiative. Lehecka slicing a bit shorter, and Medjedovic has to approach the net, which he does, and Lehecka will not be able to produce the pass. So it's a set point for Hamad, the first break point of the match.
Ooh.
And potentially the first moment when someone can really edge ahead.
Tsitsipas saved the set point with a big serve.
I wish we saw the rally count, because that was really, I mean, by far the longest of the match, and by far the longest we're gonna get in this match, I'm pretty sure. That defensive slice from Lehecka, I don't know, maybe he meant it to be this short, but he only invited Medjedovic to attack him really with it, and set point now.
Sebot Wild is wearing a Lacoste jumper, but I'm sure that Lacoste is not his brand.
Maybe he just bought it, or maybe it's a second hand.
Oh, Monteiro. Shouldn't really have hit that one long, but anyway, did, and Tsitsipas has held. I think that's Stefanos' mum we keep seeing. So Stefanos' coaching situation has gone from Philippoussis to his dad, and now it's his mum. Oh, Sebot Wild, of course, Alcaraz next round for the Brazilian.
Yep.
That is something. Well, Mario said confidently Wild is winning that match when he was playing Musetti in the previous round, and he did win it comfortably.
Mario said that Sebovic is winning against Musetti.
Yeah.
No, I thought that Mario said that Sebovic is winning against Alcaraz.
No.
But it's I mean, it's a real possibility.
It's a sort of Marajan-ish. I mean, I'm not saying that they're the same player, but there's that sort of wild card element to it, and I don't mean wild card in the sense of IMG favoritism, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Lehecka saved the set point with a serve. Well, not surprisingly, that's mostly how most points are won in this match. Hamad trying to get this like very high return in on the baseline, but he will also get another set point, just surviving a few massive shots from Lehecka here, somehow getting the last hooked forehand into the court, and he gets another one. But again, a lot will depend on his ability to return whatever Lehecka sends at him. And that whatever will be a second serve, so that should really increase his chances to put it in the court, or at least be aggressive with it. Ooh, that's a great second serve from Lehecka, though. And wow, I mean, he had this sitter after an amazing second serve, and he just went like 200 kilometers at it and landed it on the baseline. Monteiro earlier hit a 164 kilometers an hour forehand. This was probably in the same area. And it didn't need to be. It did not need to be whatsoever.
By the way, I have just done a little bit of checking, and a little bit of a dilemma later on for me. Look at what I'm showing on the screen right now.
Yeah, Rafa and United.
Look at the time.
Yeah, no, see, I see. 4 p.m. and Rafa is 4 p.m. too. Yeah.
What I always do, pretty much. Oh, nice, Montero, 30 love. What I always do in this situation is I always think about jeopardy, or risk or importance. So, let's just say it was the Champions League final, or United were chasing the title because they were 2 points behind the leaders, and it was also against Liverpool or Man City. Well, Yeah, that would overtake Nadal, de Minaur, round of 64, Madrid. French Open semi-final, Djokovic, Nadal. That probably trumps almost everything. Champions League final, that would probably beat Djokovic, Nadal semi-final, unless Nadal was going for like 25th Grand Slam or something. Anyway,
No, I get it. Like anytime this happens, I also think about Alex Trebek. Yeah,
about what?
about Alex Trebek,
What is that?
the host of Jeopardy.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Uh,
Deary me. That's completely lost on me.
I mean, not anymore. He died. Rest in peace. But
Oh,
he is a living legend. Well, not a living legend. He's a legend. Shit. Oh,
Did
sorry.
did I hear you right in saying that Korda must beat Purcell today? Otherwise, just put your racket down or something.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, on clay, yeah. And Sean says in the chat, is this court not suiting Tsitsipas? I mean, in this particular matchup, not really. I mean, especially they're also playing under the roof. The fact that it's faster just allows Monteiro to keep cracking all the balls at Steph's backhand. Like in these faster indoor as well conditions, like it's actually possible to target that Tsitsipas backhand on clay. Other than, in Barcelona and Monte Carlo, we saw how good he is at covering that up on clay. But this sort of clay, like, yeah, it's just actually when someone can trouble him. And I was thinking it's going to be Medjedovic in the third round, but well, Monteiro, why not? I think we are all kind of writing off Thiago and saying that Lajovic will probably beat him, which of course never happened. But so maybe that's why we weren't really thinking of it. Also, like, of course, peak Monteiro is a thing you get twice a year, so it's hard to expect it, particularly like a given match. But he's absolutely there today.
Two comments from Jake, one of which is very amusing, which I've just shared on the screen about United. And the other one is about Monteiro really firing, and the lefty versus Stefanos helps too. I don't know if he has a reputation against left-handers.
No, it's just the fact that lefty forehands go into the backhand. I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of the whole thing. Yeah,
it's the Nadal-Federer sort of scenario. Oh, lovely backhand from Monteiro cross court, and he's right now 2 points away from winning the match, but it's 30-all. Hit this on the rise. In fact, that backhand did remind me of Rafa a bit. When Rafa goes for it, cross court. Good block return. Slice, good depth, but Stefanos actually produces on the backhand side. Now Stefanos on the attack, comes into the net, but didn't do enough. Just didn't do enough. That was... If I said that's winnable, that point for Stefanos, which is the first word that came to my head, it doesn't do it justice. He has to win that point. Has to do more with that short ball that Monteiro gave him. By the time it was heading towards Monteiro probably was thinking, hang on a second, I'm supposed to be on the defense here. But actually he had a chance to attack and he took it, so he's got a match point. Decent return. Stefanos on the forehand. Run around forehand for Stefanos. Again, a pretty short ball. This time Stefanos goes for the drop shot and it's lovely. Deuce. Looking back, he maybe could have done that on the previous point as well. So again, it sort of feels like a couple of match-saving points we've had. One literally.
Yeah. I mean, if he does save a few match points, right? I mean,
might get into
that will be the big question then. If Monteiro can keep it up in the next game and still believe in it. Because,
right. But he's going to get another match point because Stefanos has just dumped a backhand into the net. He was actually going for it on the backhand. And it's despite his deficiencies, it's one that you would normally expect him to make.
After these two set points that Medjedovic had at 5-4, now he actually had to save a break point himself. But obviously does that with a big serve.
And Stefanos saves his match point with a big serve.
The first one was that drop shot, right? That he like a long rally, finished off with a drop shot.
Jake, you're on fire today. I know what you mean about the lack of enthusiasm. Ooh, incredible depth there from Tsitsipas. So much so that Monteiro has to go and have a quick look at the line before doing the typical brushing your foot over it.
And another breakpoint for Lehecka. Medjedovic had, double faults at deuce.
So we've got a game
Swiatek
point.
already won as well, like 5 minutes ago, 6-1, 6-1. And we have a break for Lehecka, 6-5. He saved 2 set points at 5-4. Gets a pretty deep return in on Medjedovic here, and Hamad was like kind of slow with his feet. Pretty angry at himself, hitting the racket against the net, I suppose. Smashing would be too strong a word, but
I've just seen Stefanos' father, so he's actually there. Stefanos, by the way, just put a forehand long. It's a bit unlucky because it took one of those sort of funny bounce, not terribly funny. It was sort of, you could see the powder fly up, and as a result, he put his forehand long. But he's just hit a forehand winner off a short ball, off a short return, and he's got another game point. There's kind of two sort of funny bounces that spring to mind. There's one that sort of hits what feels like a rock, and you're like, how did that just spin off into a different direction? And there's another, which is sort of when it hits sort of a bit of powder, and it can really deceive you, and I think it deceived him. But anyway, he's got another game point, but Monteiro with a nice winner down the line, and we're back at deuce. This is turning into an epic game, and as you say, if he gets another match point, for example, and doesn't take it, then the pressure.
I think already, right? I mean, 2 match points saved. That's like the big test for him right now. Yeah. Is that confidence that he's brought out today going to be, unwavering and
indeed
just so steady, or is he actually gonna?
You've had 10 aces in your match, by the way, which feels like a lot. 10 aces in the Lehecka Medjedovic match. It feels like a lot.
Quick conditions. Hamad hit like 4 in the first 3 games, I think. But of course, now he doesn't take the set points. He gets broken right back. So Lehecka to serve for the set after we're back. Although I think I might just watch the last game from Monteiro as well.
Tsitsipas is held. So they're going to have a sit down now, and Monteiro's going to have a minute or so to have a think. Which is
the last game. I said that I was going to watch the last game, but it might not be the last game.
It might not be, yeah. Tsitsipas held with an ace, which on occasion he did bring out a few big serves to get him out of trouble. So Carlos Bernardes is retiring this year, I believe. He's not retired yet, has he?
No, he's retiring at the end of the season, I guess.
Yeah, probably Davis Cup.
I have no clue how it's usually done. Maybe they'll give him like the ATP finals final or something like that. I don't know. They should, right? Like that would be a fitting end, I think.
Yeah. Or here's a better one. If Brazil were in the Davis Cup final.
Yeah, Monteiro, Seibold, Wild, and Fonseca. I mean, that could be a very strong team sometime soon. I don't know who they have in doubles. Well, Romboli for sure, but Melo. Well, yeah, they could really build up a very strong
Melo
team.
plays with Zverev, doesn't he? Has done in the past.
Well, I mean, they're friends. They play with each other quite a lot. They go on holidays together even.
Do they?
But yeah, Melo used to be the number 1. I mean, most success was with Kubot or Dodig, but he plays with Zverev quite a lot.
Didn't know about that bromance.
Yeah. Melo is like Zverev's best friend on the tour.
Okay.
Not to say only.
Does Melo get a lot of hate therefore? I've not seen it, but...
Well, I think no one cares because no one cares about doubles players, but I think he potentially would.
There was a large Danish contingent. Oh, by the way, I'm almost certainly going to the Challenger in Weresh in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that.
Okay.
12th of May, I think. Yeah, I say almost. I mean, I've booked my flight. I've spoken to Gaspar about accreditation.
I'm probably going to Mauthausen the week earlier.
Where?
Mauthausen.
That's in Germany, right?
Austria.
Oh, Austria. I just guessed from the name.
It's close to Linz. Upper
Oh.
Austria Open is the name of
Anyone
the event.
famous come from Linz in history?
Yeah, and actually Mauthausen used to have a concentration camp. It's kind of
did it?
famous for it because it's a village pretty much, but there was a concentration camp there, and there's a monument and stuff.
Talking history. Anyway, Tsitsipas has won the first point in what could be a very, 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 very important game for the destiny of this match, particularly if, of course, if Monteiro wins it. Second
Talking
serve.
history, and I was actually thinking about this the other day, because when I go to Mauthausen and well, I mean, I might like to see that monument, but tweeting about it would be a bit much, right? Like, taking some photos. And,
yeah, Instagram.
yeah, I
In
think,
Berlin,
because
there's-
usually, I like to like sort of come and maybe bring people some more color from the event and sort of,
yeah,
stuff around it. Maybe sometimes some photos. I don't know, like I tweeted the photos from Cascais, but
yeah.
the Mauthausen concentration camp.
This is turning into an epic rally right now. Oh, of course, it ends with a backhand error from Tsitsipas into the net. As that ball landed and Monteiro had about 20 minutes to think about where he was going to put it, there was little doubt, I guess. It was going to be down the line towards the backhand. It's appropriate given this conversation that we've got Sabot-Ville on our TV. Okay, let's move on. An early exit for Steph would be a good loss to have. He looked tired in Barcelona. Yeah, you can put a positive spin on it. And I think he's
not a good loss. I mean, there's no good losses,
I know what
but
Matthew means.
I think even if he loses early in Madrid and Rome, this changes nothing in regards to his Roland Garros prospects.
Yeah, probably I'd still have him comfortably in that tier 2 that we were talking about.
Yeah,
Probably.
like what he does in Madrid and Rome doesn't matter. And it's the same with Ruud. If they get more time to prepare, if they get also the best of 5 format, they're still going to be up there. So, yeah. I don't think
hello. Who's won that set over on court 5?
Lehecka, yeah, he just held, so. But I decided to just switch for the game to Monteiro.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, it is the next rival for Medjedovic or Lehecka, so it's kind of justified, right?
Yes. Sorry, Damien. 30 all. There's a comment on the screen. Nice of Yiri at 6-5-15 all neutral rally to get a tennis ball to come from the other court for a let. Oh, there was I didn't know that a ball appeared from another court, which in Madrid must be pretty tricky. I mean, in Wedash, I was thinking about it quite a lot when I was watching the Billie Jean King Cup, but yeah.
Nice of Ishi to at 6-5-50. Get a tennis ball to come from the other court for a let. Get a tennis ball?
I think one just appeared, I guess, just came over from another court.
But I'm just confused. Well, we'll be back there soon, shortly, I promise. Is that the... never mind.
Match point or game point. What's happening now? Let's have a look. Another lengthy rally. Certainly testing Monteiro's nerve. And he goes to the backhand. When actually, probably on that occasion, he should have gone for the full Steph. Yes, you heard me right. And it had one of those powder bounces I was telling you about. And as a result, Monteiro puts the backhand long. And Stefanos does look tired. Put him on a boat in the Mediterranean for a week.
Yeah, suddenly Steph is like defending, to save his life. And yeah, I see Thiago Sabot-Ville
his
now
first
as
break
well.
point in the whole match. That's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, Monteiro has like an 80% first serves in, I think. So
there's only been 2 breaks in the whole match as well, which is, yeah.
And we're talking about very quick conditions under the roof,
Yeah. I would
Slightly
imagine
controversial to keep the roofs closed as well.
Well, exactly. Well, Rafa will be pleased that it stays, or hoping it stays dry, so they'll be open for him later on.
Kind of depends because, well, depends if we're assuming that De Minaur is gonna like try to hit him off the court more than in Barcelona because he will be able to, or is he just gonna like grind him down? Which,
That time,
I don't know.
Stefanos' court position was probably perfect, but actually, Monteiro hit a good shot down the line, and a nod of approval from Sabot Wilt. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. If I was doing something and Wilt agreed with me, I'd be questioning what I was doing, except for maybe a tennis shot. That's where I will. Anyway, let's stick to tennis. Hey, that's what I'm sure certain commentators will be saying. Juice here, so he saved the break point. Oh, a lovely first serve, but it's good defense there from Stefanos. Ooh, Stefanos backhand into the net in phrases oft used in tennis.
Usually it's actually like way out of the court, right? Usually it's just a shang.
Shank, yeah. Shank is the other one, I guess. I'd love to see
by the way,
incredible shank,
this
but
is
still
like
land
really
in.
tough for Medjedovic now. He had these 2 set points, right? And he loses that. He loses the break.
Yeah.
And suddenly at 7-5, we have him free. I mean, the first game of the second set, we have him 3 break points down.
Yeah.
So, well, that was an unexpected turnaround. Someone was also giving Lehecka some pills on the changeover. Yeah, there was a physio.
No coffee.
No coffee?
Well, Muter. Oh, a lovely return from Stefanos forces the error. We're back at juice.
Muter was ordering coffee.
Yeah.
Or at least was angry that he couldn't. Someone
in the crowd gave it to him.
But yeah, things not looking too good for Medjedovic as he's 15-40 still down and actually down a set and a break now.
So often we see that in tennis, momentum swings like that.
Yeah, 2 set points. He didn't convert either of them, and then suddenly Lehecka is fully in control.
Andreeva Noskova yesterday had an incredible shift that basically just changed the match from a set and a break for Noskova. And it was a close affair. It wasn't like a set and a break advantage like you see sometimes where, okay, that's the dominant player. It was super. The difference between the 2 players was fine, but the scoreboard was a set and a break. And then Andreeva won 5 games in a row. And that was that. She carried that momentum into the next set. And
apparently, Azarenka and Sorribes Tormo played the first set that lasted 94 minutes. And it's the longest one of the entire season so far. Even 1 minute longer than Blinkova Rybakina, which of course carried a 24, 22 tiebreak.
20, was it? 22-20?
22-20, yeah, something like that, yeah. Yeah, 24-22 was Opelka Isner in Dallas. Yeah.
Another match point here for Monteiro. Second serve. Decent second serve. We're kind of at a neutral rally right now. And he's got it. Stefanos does go long with the backhand.
But it was like marginally long.
It was, yeah. It wasn't the shank, so yeah. Stefanos taking it well.
Yeah, I mean, he knows he's done some great work the last 2 weeks.
Yes. And he may well have been thinking he'll know his body and his situation. And I don't think he's even been in a final here in Madrid before. Has he been in a semi maybe 3 or 4 years ago? Berrettini, what was it when Berrettini was in the final against
the one against Rafa?
Oh, okay. That was a while ago, mind you.
Yeah, but he was in was he in the final that year?
Let me have a look.
Because this is the event where he defeated Rafa. I'm just not sure if it was the semi or the quarters, right?
Ah, okay. 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, semi-final, I think. Yeah, so he did make the final maybe in 2019.
Semi-final 2022 and final 2019, yes.
But he lost to Djokovic in the final, right?
Yep. And then 2022, he lost in the semis to Zverev. Yeah, he actually has a very good Madrid record. Like, it's not,
Okay. Better than I thought.
we can talk about him being slightly more vulnerable here, but like, yeah, he actually has a good Madrid record. But yeah, good job to Monteiro indeed, and especially I think that that break point that he had to save in the last game.
Yeah.
That was definitely the most telling. I think that's like the main moment that we can remember from this match, where like you got that pressure, you suddenly are not like guaranteed to win anymore. Of course, earlier he also wasted the break point, right? But yeah, then like you just show up there and basically he played a ridiculous rally, hitting a few of these moon balls from Steph, always finding like the way to stay aggressive in that point. And yeah, that was really a show of unwavering confidence. Yeah, Jovan has been well, I can't say a regular on the chat, but he's been here a lot of times.
So are Jovan. Anyways, basically agreeing with you in terms of that match changing moment that you had with Hamad having those set points. And
would be tough not to agree, especially with what Medjedovic is doing right now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that he's playing his basically first event of the season when he's fit, and even these 3 matches so far have given him quite a lot of work. But yeah, I mean, by now it just seems like the not taking these set points either frustrated him to a point where like he basically is unable to put anything together anymore. And indeed, the match seems decided. It will seem very, very decided if Lehecka can take. Well, I guess this is a replay, but yeah, love 30 again on the Medjedovic serve. So like, if Lehecka can take a double break lead, it will seem very, very decided. And I guess Iji is just making more returns now to just forcing the issue a bit more from Hamad. But yeah, it's a shame that this match is falling apart like for Medjedovic so quickly. Obviously, he heard that Tsitsipas lost, and he's like, "Yeah, what's the motivation now?" Yeah, 1540. He looks angry, tired, and just kind of wants to be off. I think it's good that we got that Monteiro Tsitsipas sort of like commentary in the meantime too.
yeah, agreed. Thank you, Monteiro.
It was a big one for sure for the rest of the event. Maybe this will be Thiago Monteiro's best ever run. Maybe he can. Well, he can definitely beat Lehecka. I mean, it's not out of his range. But it obviously will be. Well, we have that whole mechanism that like you bring out everything you have for one big match, and then it's not that easy to repeat it. Just play at the same intensity again when the stakes, well, they are kind of higher because it's the third round, but you're not playing a top opponent. Yeah, Lehecka just kind of desperate to make Hamad play now. Eventually, he actually misses down the line, but well, so it's a nice effort from Medjedovic to save the two breakpoints here. But indeed, the match does kind of seem decided. I mean, just seeing how Hamad is reacting to this, the body language, it feels unrealistic to expect him to come back from a set and a breakdown here. Obviously, if he loses his serve again here, then we're totally out of the discussion, I think. But
it's a good question. Where would a win against Nori rank for Fonseca? I mean, I think his win against Feast, despite I think Feast being a little off color in the.
No, it's the biggest one of his career for sure. If he beats Cam, I don't care that Cam is so unimpressive right now. But I mean, who did Fonseca beat? Fils, Sonego, Garin. Who was it recently in Bucharest, second round after? Oh, Albot. Then no, definitely not. But no, it's between Sonego and Fields for now. And I think the Sonego one was more impressive because he was not peaking from the get-go. He actually had to show like a bit more control. Whereas it's if you're as talented as he is, like it's pretty easy to just come out and have a good day at the office and destroy every ball, right? And just do it from start to finish. Like obviously you're gonna have these sort of matches, but it's tougher when things aren't going right from the very beginning of it to the end, like against Sonego. So I think that one was more impressive, but obviously ranking wise, it would be his biggest against Cam. The stature, of the event. Maybe he can somehow sneak his way into like I know the French don't really do that, but even if he would fail to make Roland Garros qualifying in his ranking, maybe if he goes on a deep run here, they will kind of have no choice than to give him the wild card. I mean, he is at 242, I think, at the time of the cut, which is probably going to be very close anyway. But yeah, maybe that's also something that this win could give him. I don't know. Again, with the French, it's very tough because they usually just don't go for anyone who's not from their country. So, but yeah, I mean, it would be the biggest win of his career. And in fact, like that's what we're seeing on that court today. Like Medvedev, Arnaldi, Dimitrov, Menchik, Nori, Fonseca. That court number 3 later in the day is just ridiculous. I mean, maybe in the case of Fonseca, it's the biggest win. Maybe for Arnaldi and for Menchik, it's not that clear cut. Probably for Menchik, the biggest one was against Rublev. And I would assume that for Arnaldi, well, probably it would be the biggest, despite beating Ruud here last year. But, well, so it would be like, comparable to beating Ruud here last year, I think. But they are all like, great youngsters looking for big wins, looking for potential breakthroughs. And that's why that court is so exciting. Which kind of is the storyline that I was hoping for with potentially Medjedovic, Tsitsipas in the third round. At the moment, though, it looks like neither of them will make it. And especially as Lehecka finds this sharp angle on the return, Hamad definitely looking a bit slow to it. So I think the fitness aspect is probably playing into this too. And well, after he missed the set points, I think it just kind of came to him that, well, he's not exactly at 100% anymore, and probably coincided with the mental breakdown. But for now, he's still holding on. We also have Sinner Sonego on the court.
I'm watching,
Sinner is already leading 3 games to love, yeah.
Sonego just won a point, and it was nice. It was a nice drop shot, but the way the crowd reacted with applause, I also think there was a sense of, hey, nice.
Yeah, you got something.
Yeah.
Well done. It's like when you're down love 6, love 3, and then you win a game, and everyone is, whoa! Jimenez Kasintseva must have had a moment.
I don't know how the first game went, but the break was to love, I think so. So, yeah. And it's 40-15 now for a 3-love lead for Yannick.
And Medjedovic holds. So he's fighting. He's still there, but he needs to recover that break pretty quickly.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
Sure. Our hero Pedro Cachin is also going to start soon against Frances Tiafoe. He won last year against Frances here at these very courts at this very venue. So maybe, I mean, altitude, he's amazing in these conditions, generally speaking. But yeah, for Lehecka, Medjedovic change over 2-1 in the second set for the Czech, who needs just 4 holds to get this match to a finish. Very surprising turnarounds, definitely. The 2 set points for Medjedovic. Up until then, he did seem like the marginally better player. One of the set points was good first serve, I think, from Lehecka, and the other, he really risked it with the second one and got the reward, slamming the +1 forehand actually like very fast. Like probably didn't need to go that big, but anyway, he found the line with it. And after that, things went very wrong for Medjedovic the next 5 games. Almost was a double breakup here in the third set, Lehecka, which would have probably sealed the deal. But for now, let's see if he can just keep rolling or if Medjedovic still has something in store. But if the Lehecka serving quality will be high, then it's very tough. So for now, we've seen Stefanos Tsitsipas struggle after that Barcelona-Monte Carlo double against Thiago Monteiro. Today, it will also be very interesting to see if Casper Ruud has the same issues. I would say probably not, because Miomir Kecmanovic is just not the same level of threat. Like, you just don't really imagine Miomir Kecmanovic coming out and cracking every ball like Monteiro did today. Of course, Monteiro 95% of the time isn't going to do that either, but at least he has that peak level in him. Whereas with Kecmanovic, I think he's more likely to come up with a more controlled approach and lose to Ruud like he's been doing time and time again, but who knows? Lehecka basically hoping for a lot of these easy setups with the first serve here, and so far he's getting them as he goes up 30-15. Well, but there are some errors creeping into Lehecka's game here too. I do like the fact that we're seeing Medjedovic fighting for this. Easily could have gone down that double break and just ended up shooting at the fence the rest of the match. But for now, he's definitely still mentally in this game and trying to find that break. Let's see. He's put on the defense by Lehecka here. Survives a couple of big forehands. Iji at the net, and Hamad tries to chase down that drop volley, but will not be able to get it back. That was a pretty big sprint as well. If he's really as tired as he seems, then it will take out quite a lot from him. We can see on the replay as well how close he was to the backboard, and then there's the drop volley from Lehecka, so it's basically massive, massive distance covered by Medjedovic. I think even if that shot makes it over the net, though, Lehecka would have been there to pick it up, and he finds a great serve down the tee to go 7-5, 3-1 up. I mean, to Lehecka's credit, obviously he's been playing very well since the 2 set points saved, and in fact even on the 2 set points saved, obviously. There's definitely quite a lot as well that Lehecka is getting back now compared to the opening games, when the serve of Medjedovic was like doing immense damage. Right now, Lehecka just staying in these points like the one just a second ago. forcing some good footwork from Medjedovic, and he's not really able to supply it for the moment. Yeah, there's definitely a big difference between these two in terms of their defensive qualities too. Lehecka is so dynamic. Of course, Hamad a lot more sturdy in terms of his body type, and he can be a bit of like an effective defender sometimes. But here Lehecka is just really making him play that one more shot. And for the moment, this is a big issue for Medjedovic, who goes down low 30 again. Finds that out wide serve though. Now that's a long rally that Lehecka really should be thinking of winning and setting up the breakpoints. But Medjedovic is staying pretty strong in this. Big backhand cross court, and he's invited into the net again by the shorter slice from Lehecka. And that's a nice one from Medjedovic. The disguise on the drop shot definitely fooling Lehecka there. I think he was expecting another sort of compact, low contact point backhand from him. And then at the very end, Hamad decides to throw in the drop shot. It barely bounces, and he's back to 30 all. That was a very long rally again that Medjedovic wins. And the ace out wide is going to give him a game point. So, the fight's still there. He had to save 3 breakpoints, I think, in the previous service game. Now he was down low 30, but he's not quite willing to call it quits yet. And he will find this +1 forehand, a big roar from him as well. 3 to Lehecka, 3 holds away, but Medjedovic remains within touching distance potentially. Can't recall any of Nori's previous showings in Madrid, says Jake, but have to feel quicker conditions does him more harm on the forehand. Feels like that side can get rushed quite easily. Absolutely. And he has been kind of all over the place of late too, which I think it just makes it harder for him to like grind down, really like use these huge lungs, right? To potentially get Fonseca tired. When it comes to Nori's previous Madrid performances in 2022, I actually don't remember this run whatsoever, but he beat Kwon and Isner and took a set of Alcaraz. And then 2023, that run, I do remember he beat Watanuki in a close match and then lost to Zhang, losing the last 2 tiebreaks. But yeah, I mean, the conditions give Fonseca a very good shot. There's a lot of young players today with upset chances, I think. Kind of like obvious upset chances. Ooh, that's a cover in Strava for Damir Jumhur, who gets into the final.
This Sonego match is not getting any more interesting.
Sonego, yeah.
I mean, if Medjedovic breaks back, it might well finish before.
If he breaks back, yeah. If he gets to the decider, sure. But
well, even if he gets to a tiebreak at this rate, because Sinner and Sonego could be in a second set very soon.
Maybe it's just me looking at the score instead of the feed and seeing that it's deuce now. So maybe.
Oh, Sinner Sonego's deuce, is it?
Yeah.
I've got 40-30.
I just look at the scoreboard, so kind of extends it. But we'll see. Of course, could be 3 very quick holds for Lehecka. Maybe he finds another break. Previous game, Medjedovic was like again kind of in trouble, but I mean he's fighting for it despite looking quite tired at this stage. I don't know if more mentally or physically, but maybe a combination of both. Of course, yeah, he's literally his first fit event of the year.
Do you know what Jake means by jars here?
Probably drunk, probably beers.
Beers, on the beers, yeah, on the
I think,
beers.
in fact, he, in one of the tweets, or maybe it was a comment recently, where he also said jars, and I could get from the context that it was about beers.
He sent us a picture of a beer, I know that.
Yeah. It was either there or maybe right after that he said something in the chat about jars. So I'm pretty sure it's beers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, in answer to the question, I don't know, Jake, but what I will say is I get enough of a buzz from tennis, and in particular the aforementioned Spaniard, to not. In fact, if anything, when watching a big match of significance, I prefer to not actually drink alcohol, just because I like to be able to focus on the match. Because I found in the past when alcohol gets an awful drop shot there from Sonego. I don't know if he's been on the jars this morning, but the way he did that was like, wow. It was certainly not the clearest of decisions, and it was not very well executed either. Oh, hello, look who's in the chat. Didn't your Nerlan, your Swiatek is going to be struggling on serve or return of serve the other day? Didn't that not pan out at all, Nerlan? He was saying that she was going to have a lot of problems against Wong on Wong's serve, was going to cause her some trouble. I mean, she did win. Winning 42%? She got 78% of her first serve in, but she only won 42% of the points.
Yeah, she was like 40% on first serve, so probably didn't really pan out. Sorana Kirsta also didn't threaten Świątek. I guess I'm thinking, who's the next threat according to Nurlan? Is it Azarenka, Sorribes Tormo next up? Yeah, I don't think so, right? Stevens, Sakari, Haddad, Maya, Navarro. No, I mean, let's be honest. The Iga draw looks really good.
I see. I was about to ask, did it finish? But of course, it hasn't finished yet. Not even close.
Azarenka, Sorribes Tormo? No. This one will be 4.5 hours. It was an off day for Wang. Yeah, okay.
Nerlan, did you see our interview or my interview with the Turkish tennis player a few weeks ago? Because I think Nerlan is Turkish. I think we've got that decided, right?
Who was that? Zeynep Sonmez?
Yeah. But I think we know that Nerlan is at
He was
least
at the 125 in Kozerki last year, so I watched her quite a lot, and her coach is also on Twitter, so I met up with him there.
Who's her coach?
Mert Ertunga. He was the
okay. I know. Yeah, I know who you mean. Oh, I didn't realize.
He's got a pretty big account, yeah. He used to coach Ipek Oz and Ailaksu, and then he switched to Zeynep last year, I think.
Yeah, I have had a very brief interaction with Mert. What's his second name? Mert
Ertunga. I don't know if that's his name on Twitter, though. But I think it is.
Yeah. Sinner is edging towards a bagel. Handing one out rather than receiving, of course. Sonego bageling Sinner, even if nothing else, even if Sinner went on to win the match, that would still be a standout moment.
Anyone bageling Sinner probably won't happen for a few years, right?
No.
I think Federer avoided a bagel for 13 between
Did he?
the French Open final and the Wimbledon quarterfinal of Hurkacz. But obviously, it's kind of easy if you're like one of the best servers in the sport. Is Sinner already one of the best servers? I mean, not to that extent, but also. So
Azarenka has a break, and Jake is confirming it was in the chat when he mentioned Jars the other day.
Yeah, I remember. And Nurlan says that Zainab is his girl. So
yeah. She's a fan.
Lehecka Medjedovic has become a bit of a, Lehecka will probably hold until the end affair. So I'm now looking at when was Sinner last bageled, because it's very relevant. And it was actually against Daniel Medvedev at the 2021 ATP Finals.
Okay.
From what I can see, he's only
Sinner
been
an
bageled
alternate
10
that year.
times in his career.
Was Sinner an alternate? Was Sinner an alternate that year?
He was definitely out of the top 10. So I think he only, didn't he come in for Berrettini maybe?
Yeah, Berrettini, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. Rafa also bageled him at Roland Garros. Karatsev bageled him in Lyon and lost the match. Gilles Simon
Which year did
bageled
Rafa
him in
bagel him?
Lyon.
Because I always get those two confused. One was 2020, one was 2021.
21.
And Sinner has handed out the bagel to Sonego. So in the race to see if they can, he'll probably have to get another bagel and probably hope that Medjedovic at least breaks back, because a 5-3 lead, and that's going to be, even for Sinner, I think he's going to struggle to get this done. Indeed, Jake, indeed. The Rio Open is very happy with Monteiro's win today, tweeting about it.
Their wild card for this year, quarterfinalist, beat the world number 2, beat the top seed in Rio. So, sure.
Jake is suggesting, I see there's a lot of open suggestions. The Damien Open. Where you could just, I guess,
Open?
I don't know. Nurlan, you know what Nurlan's like. He's probably smoking a shisha right now.
John Open. Basel Open, maybe. That was the...
Way, Nurlan's on a charm offensive at the moment.
No, I mean, I'd rather host, like, I was thinking about this, and I would like to host a 15K. You give wildcards to like some of the players who are like hidden with good potential, but hidden somewhere, basically. It would be fun. The bigger you go, the more pressure is on you as well, right? So I would like to be a 25K or a 15K, yes. I'm the tournament director. I'm handing out wildcards. Darwin, no, I wouldn't give one to Darwin Blanche. He already plays any 15K he wants because of the junior ranking. But
Sonego taking a timeout at the end of this set doesn't help if I want to get this done. Of course, if Medjedovic breaks back and wins the set, then I think,
match.
Yeah.
So I guess in the race, it's now very tough for...
Yeah. Well, Medjedovic has to break and probably has to, at the very least...
Well, I mean, technically, a game doesn't have to finish.
Well, no, it could be a 20-minute game.
Technically, yeah.
But then I'd need a 20-minute set from Yannick.
That's doable.
Yeah.
Was it a bagel?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yes, we had 26 minutes match play time, but actually 30 minutes. There's the alternative because there was a 4-minute break between sets. But
And Pedro
26 minutes.
Kacin, for now, he's keeping up with Tiafoe. I mean, he has a real shot at Francis, right? Like,
Oh, definitely.
no joke.
I mean, I would suggest even peak Francis, there's a chance, especially on clay in Madrid. But we're
Yeah,
not
but then
looking at-
maybe you'd need peak Kacin as well, and I don't know if he's there.
But anyway, we've not had peak Francis for almost a year. The Shelton loss for me is the one that sort of sticks in my mind, but that could be a narrative thing that there was probably something setting in before then.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a narrative that we're building up, but it does kind of track. Like that's probably the last huge result for him. That's probably the last moment when he looked the part, or at least before this match against Shelton.
And going into that match, it was a 50-50. Maybe even Tiafoe was the slight favorite.
Yeah, and then you get the Houston run this year, but yeah, I don't think it matters all that
was
much, really.
That's a misleading, extremely misleading, I think.
Well, we still haven't seen him play since, have we?
Well, listen. If he goes on a run in Madrid, then that may be cited as a turning point. But
yeah, I mean, is this his first match on the clay this year?
Because he didn't play Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo, definitely not. I'm thinking of Barcelona, but I don't think he played it, right? So I think it's after Houston, it's his first match. So
that shisha that Nerlan is smoking is taken on another level.
Yeah, I don't think it's just a shisha. I think it's filled with something.
Well, exactly. Yeah,
more extreme,
I was hinting at that. Lehecka is edging towards victory. Of course, Raducanu winning the US Open alone wasn't enough to sort of build this monster almost, you could say. I think there's a lot of factors going on. I mean, her age, coming almost from nowhere, her mixed background, the whole coaching thing, throw in the British media as well, and their thirst to build people up and then knock them down. Oh, horrible drop shot from Sonego. And in news that won't surprise you, Sinner holds for 1-love.
And news that won't surprise you, Lehecka also holds for 7-5, 6-4, 2 sets to love. Yeah, these 2 set points kind of ended the match. I think it was like, like at this particular moment, all the fatigue suddenly kicks in for Medjedovic, which still doesn't take away, obviously, from Lehecka. He was serving well. He was moving much better than Hamad around the court for sure, and just making him play one more ball. And yeah, he deserves to be in the third round against the legend Thiago Monteiro.
Thiago Monteiro is the first player ranked outside the top 100 to beat Stefanos Tsitsipas in a main tour clay court match. Oh, maybe Elise Cornet is going to announce her retirement today. Hasn't
Once
she already
again?
announced? Yeah, I was going to say, didn't she say 1 year was going to? I think 2 years ago was going to be her last year on tour, and then she had
says,
some really.
She says that every year right now. Yeah, she says that every year, and
Yeah.
well, for now it hasn't been true, but maybe at some point it will.
This is the tease.
She says that every year.
The tease is that Cornet is going to make a special announcement today during her interview, which will be on Canal Plus this evening in France.
Yeah, then it must be the retirement. It's like Muguruza recently, right? I mean, what else would you be announcing? In the Muguruza case, at the very least, it was like, okay, so she might be saying that she's coming back to the tour at some point.
Right.
But
Yes.
with Cornet, we have like 0 other options really.
If there's a
She
special
could be announcing either pregnancy or retirement. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
There's also pregnancy. Yeah, that's something she could be announcing.
But
retirement is more likely.
I'm going to stay live for another hour or so, I think, at least
Okay.
until the end of Sinner Sonego, which of course could be 20 minutes. Nerlan is wondering if we can stay live for the Azarenka Sorribes Tormo match. Depends. I see Sorribes Tormo's broken back as well.
It might be that it's over before Sinner Sonego. I will actually leave. Haven't eaten in ages, and
No,
I
no
do
problem.
have to do that. So
Do it.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Do it.
Yeah, it was a pretty short one actually. Lehecka and Medjedovic, I didn't realize, but well, I guess very serve based. Anyway,
Done.
See you, Nurlan. I'm not saying goodbye to anyone else because I only care about Nurlan. And bye. Join the other streams, guys, later today. Did we finally get 8K?
No, we're still about 20 short. Last I checked, we're just crawling at the moment. Rather than so a week ago we were adding 50 or 100. Even Monday, Tuesday this week, with ATP Weekly and WTA Weekly, that sort of boosted us, and we had a few.
Yeah, it's interesting because you would think that it's tournament content, sure, but then you say that on Monday and Tuesday we are also adding. So
yeah, no, we were, but there may have been some people sort of still watching some of those videos and subscribing. But there was a lot of stuff from WTA Weekly that I was clipping up and was doing very well. Let's say, 5 minutes on Raducanu, 5 minutes on Iga, 5 minutes on Rybakina. I think all of those clips did pretty well as well.
All right.
So yeah. Anyway,
I'll go. See
you. Bye.
Don't let him, John.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Okay, so you've got me for at least the remainder of Sinner Sonego. I am sharing, of course, on the screen the score with Azarenka and Sorribes Tormo. And so we'll be here for at least another 20 minutes or so. So hang tight. I say at least another 20 minutes or so. It all depends on how this Sinner Sonego match pans out. I can see a break point for Jannik Sinner right now, but it's been saved with a forehand winner from Sonego, who celebrates it, which suggests he still believes somehow, somewhere. Yes, Jake, that is, yeah, I also am aware of that. I didn't know it was actually put in a book, but I know that that is her father's preference. But yeah, I think it may well cause chaos rather than order, which I think she needs more of the latter than the former. Sorribes Tormo 2-all in this match. And by the way, that first set was 94 minutes, which I think Damon was saying was the longest set of the year, at least on the WTA side, just overtaking the set between Blinkova and Rybakina, which of course involved a 22-20 tiebreak. So anyway, Azarenka probably struggling to hit through Sorribes Tormo. I'm sure Jake has got more than one eye on that particular match, probably both eyes, I would imagine. For now, I have Sinner Sonego on my screen, but I'll share the score from that. I don't really drink energy drinks. I mean, the only one that springs to mind is Red Bull. What other alternatives are there? I mean, I think Monster is another one. I know that one, yeah. Isn't it in a big can as well, like Monster? Well, the crowd has been brought to its feet to celebrate a Sonego game, 1-game-all. But of course, that is the first game that Sonego has won in this particular encounter. 6-love, the first set for Jannik Sinner. And we're at 1-game-all in the second. Over on court 3, the snail pace of Sorribes Tormo Azarenka isn't altering too much. Feels like this rally's been going on a while. But Sorribes Tormo does indeed hold. just doesn't seem like there's much Sonego can do. Every rally, it just feels like, yeah, somehow Yannick is going to win this, whether it be Sonego pulling the trigger in frustration or Yannick eventually wearing him down. That's not to say that Yannick isn't occasionally aggressive, but his aggression is so measured these days. Summed up perfectly in those latter 3 sets against Medvedev in that Australian Open final. Albeit probably aided and abetted by an ailing Daniel on the other side of the net. Oh, I tell you who's the first person that can stop Sabalenka from winning the title again. Aryna herself, because let's think about this. I mean, I think yesterday was against Linette was only the second player that she has beaten since the Australian Open. So I say the second player. I think it's the third match, but of course, 2 of those wins have come against the same player, Paula Badosa, in Miami and in Stuttgart. So her form post-Australia has been, yeah, leave a lot to be desired. You know, losses to Vekic spring to mind, obviously, in that first tournament after that. Actually, what am I saying? She beat Raducanu in Indian Wells, but you know what I mean. There's been I'm sure I'm getting that bit wrong because I know she beat Raducanu and she probably beat somebody else in Indian Wells, but her form post-Australia has been, yeah, not great, let's say that. So that's the first thing. Second thing, let me have a look at her draw. But given the fact that I'm optimistic about Iga's draw, I'm now thinking, therefore, what goes up must come down. Oh, Sakari Stevens has started. I didn't know that. And Sakari's leading 4-1. Yeah, what goes up must come down. I'm just going to share this on the screen for now and just have a quick look at the Madrid Open draw. So, who's Swiatek playing next? Swiatek is going to play the winner of is she going to play the winner of Azarenka Sorribes Tormo? Yeah, if it's Sorribes Tormo, that is no contest for me. If it's Azarenka, I still favour Iga quite strongly. Let's have a look down at the draw for Aryna Sabalenka, because that's the question. Who's she playing next after beating Linette? I think she's playing tomorrow. And she's playing Montgomery. Okay, so Montgomery beat Katie Bolter. I wasn't even aware of that result. Yeah, that should be okay for Aryna. And then after that, Daniel Collins. I mean, Christian mustn't be ruled out. But yeah, I guess that's very winnable. And then after Daniel Collins, let me have a look. I think she'll beat Danielle. And then after that would be the winner of, from this group here, Paulini Garcia, Vondrousa Andreeva. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Could be Mira Andreeva again. Could be. They played each other in Madrid last year, and this is a year on, so you'd imagine that Andreeva's come forward a little bit. Earlier today, or just recently finished, Lehecka Medjedovic. Lehecka winning in straight sets, but the turning point very much in that match came towards the end of the first set when Medjedovic had some set points, albeit on the Lehecka serve. Couldn't take them. Lehecka broke in the next game, went on to win the set, got an early break in the second, and in the space of about 15 minutes, the match was decided. Arguably, the... I should say Swiatek against Chastea. I was just showing the previous match, but that was probably decided before they even went on court. Here we have Sinner leading 2-1. And we've got Sonego serving, so therefore 1-2. Azarenka is at 30 all on her serve at 2-3. A break for Sorribes Tormo would certainly put the Spaniard within touching distance of the round of 16. An ace for Sonego brings up 40-15. And maybe in surprise of the day, to share that news with you, Monteiro beating Tsitsipas earlier in straight sets. Just 2 breaks of serve in that particular encounter. And the Brazilian is through in arguably the biggest win of his career. The win over Sonego, of course, must be factored into that debate in Rio. Coming up later today, of course, we've got Rafael Nadal against Alex de Minaur on Manolo Santana. And Sakkari now has a double break advantage on Sloane Stephens, 30 love as well. So she's just 2 points away from sealing that set. Azarenka held serve, though, so that's 3 all. 46 minutes on the clock here between these two Italians. And Sonego dumps a backhand into the bottom of the net. Do hit the like button, by the way, and if you're new to the channel, do hit subscribe. We have a break point here for Jannik Sinner to arguably put the nail into the coffin. We'll see. Forehand return from Jannik. It's a big forehand from Sonego, but did it land out? I think it did. 3 games to 1. So Sinner now leads a set and a break, much to the frustration of Lorenzo Sonego. He did go big on that forehand, probably felt as though that was his only choice, and put it just wide. The questions that Jannik Sinner is posing are just too tough to answer for Lorenzo Sonego. But to be honest with you, that conundrum is the same for pretty much everyone on the ATP Tour right now. Oh, lovely backhand there from Jannik. Forehand with good depth. Comes into the net. I think it's going to land out. Oh, it landed in. Jannik let it go. I must say, I don't blame Jannik for letting that go because I thought it was going to land out myself. But a clenched fist from Sonego tells us that he's won that point. It sort of curved in. It wouldn't have been the easiest of volleys for Jannik, to be fair. And it did just clip the line, yeah. Sean here with an interesting take. Only great defenders have much of a chance against Sinner. I mean, Alcaraz has got the perfect combination, though, of being incredible in defense and incredible in attack. And I think if he's healthy and confident and they play here in Rome, here in Madrid. So, for example, I would make Alcaraz the slight favorite, but it would all depend for me in terms of how they're playing in the lead up to that potential final. By the way, if Jannik gets to the final here in Madrid, irrespective of what else goes on elsewhere, because of course Djokovic isn't here, I think he's very, very likely to overtake Novak in Rome. Best baseline game? Is that a serious question, Nerland? Because I think there's an obvious answer, but you're not going to like the answer. I mean, put it like this. She's world number one. And she's world number one largely based on her baseline game. Jannik Sinner, also pretty impressive from the baseline in particular, but not impressive there as he dumps a forehand wide. And we've got 15-30 here on the Jannik Sinner serve. But Sinner gets it back to 30 all, and we have some very typical Italian expressions from Lorenzo Sonego. And now we have a game point for Jannik Sinner. Sakari is up a set and a break. Azarenka, Sorribes Tormo, the snails-like pace of that match is not quickening up at all. Sinner comes into the net, attacks that ball, should win the point, and he does. And therefore the game, so it's 4-1 now at the Italian leads. I should say the Italian called Jannik Sinner because we've got two Italians on this court. And yeah, let's call this a humbling experience so far for Lorenzo Sonego. Sorribes Tormo has a game point, and we'll just take a short break.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
All things tennis indeed. Oh, a horrible drop shot, that one from Sonego. Desperate measures, I think, and Jannik Sinner punishes him. Love 15 on the Lorenzo serve. See Feliciano Lopez there looking down at his phone, probably checking out Damien Kust's tweets to find out what's going on in the lower echelons of the tennis world. He's not interested in the match in front of him, that's for sure. 55 minutes on the match clock. And we might not have many more minutes left. Lorenzo Sonego here with a second serve. Jannik Sinner with a decent backhand return. Or I say decent, it went long. And he's annoyed with that. 15-all. Azarenka, Sorribes Tormo is still in the same game. Sakkari's facing a break point. So Stevens threatening to gain parity, at least in the second set. Good first serve there from Sonego. Puts himself in an excellent position. And he puts the backhand winner away, 30-15. All here on the Sonego serve. So Sinner could get another break and basically win this match with just minimal effort, if you like, in terms of at least time spent on court. Backhand return, forehand of Sonego. That's a really good forehand from Lorenzo and wins the point. So here's a game point to earn his second game in the match. Sakkari is going to have to save another break point, and she doesn't save it. So Sloane Stephens has indeed gained the parity that I touched upon earlier, and they are back on serve in the second set, albeit that the Greek leads by a set to love. And the forehand from Sonego sprays long and wide. And now we're at deuce. Sonego here to serve. Goes down the tee, backhand return. Backhand of Sonego is good. Good defense, though, from Sinner. Goes for the winner, but doesn't work, Jannik there. And we have a game point for Lorenzo Sonego, once again, to get his second game of the match. Which matches are we excited about today? Leylah Fernandez on Jabeur, I think, is a very intriguing affair. What do we think about Ostapenko against Kala? Kala, of course, of Raducanu conquering fame. Anyway, Sinner here serving now at 4-2 because Sonego did indeed hold his serve. It's a lovely forehand there from Jannik. Puts himself in charge of the point. Can he put the smash away? Not yet. He's going to have another smash, much more difficult. Sonego now much back in the point, very much. But not now because he puts his forehand long. 15 love. Ooh, spraying that forehand wide. So, Manolo Santana is this match. Let's have a look at the... Is there any other match on Manolo Santana? Oh, we've got Nadal, but is there any other match before this? Sinner, by the way, holding his hand up after getting a bit of lucky there. But it's 40 love, so 3 game points for Jannik. Oh, is it raining again on the outside courts? I can see some suspension of matches, so I suspect on the outside courts. Forehand return into the backhand of Jannik. Drop shot from Lorenzo is pretty good, and it forces the error. So at 40-30. (40-30) here on the Jannik serve, which is about as close as it feels like Sonego has been getting to the Jannik serve today. Down the tee, they exchange forehands now. Jannik just upping the ante on the forehand, but Lorenzo dealing with it well, but he didn't deal with that well. He goes long. He cannot believe it. And it's 5-2, Jannik Sinner. Lorenzo Sonego cutting a very forlorn, frustrated figure right now. How forlorn and frustrated are the players over on court number 3, where Azarenka and Sorribes Tormo are really in a deep dogfight? 30 all on the Azarenka serve, but if Sorribes Tormo was to break here, and she's just 2 points away from doing so, she will serve for the match and a place in the round of 16, where she would play Iga Swiatek, because Iga Swiatek, as you can also see on the screen, won in straight sets, losing just 2 games to Sorana Cirstea. And Sorribes Tormo has a break point. So are we going to see a significant moment over there on court number 3? very few significant moments here between Sonego and Sinner, with Jannik just one game away from victory. This set at least has been more competitive than the first. We've had 38 minutes for this set as opposed to the 26 that were required for the first. Forehand return from Jannik. A good forehand there from Sonego. Forces the error, more than forces the error. It was almost a win. It was just unbelievable that Sinner managed to get his racket on it, but it wasn't enough purchase to get it over the net. So 2-5 in this second set. Sonego serving 15 love. Azarenka has saved that break point. So they're at deuce. Forehand into the net from Jannik. So we've got 30 love for Lorenzo as he hopes to at least force Jannik Sinner to serve this out. Drop shot from Lorenzo Sonego is lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And he holds serve. So Jannik Sinner is indeed going to have to serve this out at 5-3. Azarenka and Sorribes Tormo, again, it feels like this game is lasting forever with Azarenka trying to hold serve, which is something Sloane Stephens managed to do to make it 3-2 in that second set. So at one point, it looked like Sakkari was going to run away with it when she won the first set 6-1, was up an early break, 1-love, albeit in the second set. But Sloane Stephens has arrested that momentum very much so, and now it's over to Maria to hold serve, which is something Azarenka is clearly desperate to do. And if Jannik Sinner manages to do the same, he will have won this match. And he started off pretty well in this second set. 6-love, 5-3, 15-love for Jannik. Sorribes Tormo has another break point to potentially put one foot into the next round. And return from Lorenzo Sonego, forehand winner. And Sorribes Tormo gets the break. 5-3. Wow. So Sorribes Tormo is serving for the match, just like Jannik Sinner is serving for the match. Sinner has 3 match points. Backhand return, forehand from Jannik, forehand from Sonego goes long indeed. Jannik Sinner nods his head, shows the mark on the court, and Jannik Sinner is safely through to the next round, beating his compatriot, who's smiling as they come to the net. 6-love, 6-3. The gap between these two players, which a year or so ago would have been pretty narrow, arguably, now it's a wide chasm, and it's Jannik who is potentially going to be standing at the top of the ATP tree in the coming weeks if he can maintain this form. I'm going to switch over now to court number 3 and see if Sorribes Tormo can serve it out against Victoria Azarenka. Five, 3. 2 hours, 47 minutes on the clock, and they haven't even completed 2 sets. Sorribes Tormo to serve for the match. We're just looking at official review on the first point where Azarenka has indeed gone long, I think. Or was it the serve that went long? I think it's just a debate over the serve. 5-3. No, it was she did go long. So 15 love. Forehand return is good from Azarenka. Puts herself in a good position in this point. But what's she doing with that drive volley? Going in completely the wrong direction. And she messes up the smash. That's a very disappointing point for Azarenka. She should be winning that in her sleep. 30 love, Sorribes Tormo. 2 points away from winning this match. Nodding her head. Play suspended on the outer courts due to rain. Decent serve from Sorribes Tormo is all I can say about that. Goes down the line. It's about as aggressive as Sorribes Tormo is going to be. A good slice from Sorribes Tormo. Decent slice as well, though, from Azarenka. Now it's on the double-handed backhand from both players. And yes, Sorribes Tormo has just hit a backhand cross-court winner, largely thanks to the angle rather than the pace of shot. And she has, much to the delight of the crowd, 3 match points. Nodding her head once again. First serve is into the net. So second serve here. Still nodding her head. Sorribes Tormo. 3 match points. 5-3 she leads. Second serve. She's taking her time. Azarenka looks towards the crowd, quite annoyed. And second serve lands in. Backhand return. Good depth there from Sorribes Tormo. Drop shot from Sorribes Tormo is good. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal drop shot. Nothing Azarenka could do about that. And Sorribes Tormo has knocked out Victoria Azarenka. She's delighted with that one, and understandably so. She will have a taller and bigger task in the next round when she plays the world number 1 against Iga Swiatek. But for now, she can enjoy this sweet, sweet victory in her homeland, in the Spanish capital, over Victoria Azarenka. 7-6, 6-3. And she's through. And let's have a quick look at the live chat. I can see some comments in here. Azarenka is hilarious. What is Iga's potential quarterfinal opponent, or who is it? I think it's potentially Vondrousova or Andreeva. That is what I recall from the draw. So Vondrousova is playing Andreeva. Maybe I've got it wrong, actually. Let me have a look. Sorry, Nerland. Just give me a second. I'm looking at the draw right now. Yes, scrap that. It's not going to be Vondrousova or Andreeva. That's for Rybakina. So Swiatek is going to play Sorribes Tormo. And then potentially in the next round would be Haddad Maia, Navarro, Stevens, or Sakari. Probably Sakari. That's what I'd be thinking. Probably Sakari. Anyway, this stream is now coming to an end. Look forward to seeing you again soon. And thank you for joining. You know the drill.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.